Hi, I'm Dan Aubuchon, and welcome back to the Joy of Tennis Teaching. 2 weeks ago, we talked about court awareness. Last week, we talked about ball awareness. And today, we're going to complete the 3 foundations by talking about opponent awareness. Now, opponent awareness is learning how to read your opponent so that you can anticipate what the next shot is going to be. The more you can predict what your opponent is going to do, the easier it'll be for you to prepare and execute a better shot on your side. Opponent awareness really involves 4 different things that you can do to be better at opponent awareness. One is just keeping a book on your opponent. Some players and coaches will actually keep a physical book or nowadays a digital log of their opponent's tendencies and what shots they like to hit, what directions they'll hit at certain scores, and that type of thing. I know Peter Burwash had a very extensive book that helped him a lot when he was doing his TV commentary. I believe Craig O'Shaughnessy at Brain Game Tennis, you can actually purchase what your opponent is going to do, and Craig will do the research online and give you a log of their tendencies. So that's aspect number 1. Aspect number 2 is learning how to read your opponent's racket. If your opponent doesn't take much of a backswing, if they approach hitting the ball just with the racket out in front of them, they can't hit it very hard. They're going to just poke the ball. If they take a big windup, they're probably going to hit it hard. If they start high and finish low, they're going to hit a ball with some underspin or backspin. They're chopping at the ball. If they loop over the ball, they're trying to hit topspin. Sometimes players will drop their racket head when they're hitting a lob. There's all kinds of things that your opponent's racket will tell you if you learn to read it. I know when I'm at the net, I focus very much on my opponent's racket face, and I'll get an earlier read on where that passing shot is going. Aspect number 3 is learning how to read what your opponent is doing with their body, with their feet, their shoulders, their body position. Peter Burwash told me a story about one of the top players in Hawaii that Peter competed against. And this gentleman was an excellent player, but Peter claimed he never once passed him with a backhand. And I said, well, geez, how did that happen? He's got an excellent backhand, really an incredibly good backhand. And Peter said he gives away where he's going to hit his passing shot by the way he moves his front foot, his right foot. If he's going down the line, he steps forward to the left net post. If he's going cross court, he steps across to the right net post. And just so happened, 2 weeks later, I was the chair umpire for a match this player was playing in. It was a senior event in Hawaii that was being played at my resort. And I ended up being the chair umpire for the finals of that match. And just on the side of my umpire scorecard, I just did a little prediction. Every time this gentleman had to hit a backhand passing shot, I made a little note to see if he was going to go down the line and cross court. And using Peter's watch that front foot, I was 100% right in predicting where that shot was going. The 1981 US Open Finals, John McEnroe destroyed Bjorn Borg. And it was really the match that sent Borg into an early retirement at age 26. And a lot of people say that McEnroe knew where Borg was going to serve by the way he moved his feet on the serve, that he would bring his right foot outside when he was going to serve to McEnroe's backhand. McEnroe was left-handed, and he would pull it up straight behind his left foot when he was going to serve at McEnroe's body or at his forehand. If you know where your opponent is going to serve before they hit it, that's an enormous advantage. And it sort of explains why McEnroe won with one of his most lopsided victories in that great rivalry. The fourth way of learning to read your opponent is just recognizing that your opponent has limitations. Depending on where they are on the court and what their physical skills are, they cannot hit a shot to every part of the court. Sometimes in a lesson, if I was in a position, I would say to my opponent, my student, where can I hit the ball from this position? And they'll say, well, geez, you could hit it anywhere. And most of the time, that's not true. Depending on your position, you've got to hit it cross court or down the middle. You have to hit it deep or try to hit it deep. You can't always hit a drop shot. So if you learn to understand these limitations, and again, this goes back to our first foundation, court awareness. If you understand the limitations of court positioning on your opponent's shots, it will help you narrow it down and read it a lot more effectively. When I was a young player, I had decent skills at hitting the ball, but I never was a good mover on the court. And somebody once said to me, well, how do you play with as slowly as you move? It was mostly because of opponent awareness. It was mostly because I had good anticipation. I learned to read from playing other sports. I learned to read the opponent's body and their racket. I was very good at remembering opponents' tendencies, and that allowed me to make up for some deficiencies in court movement. So that covers our three foundations, the three things you have to be aware of: court awareness, ball awareness, opponent awareness. And if you're aware of those three things, and it shifts in priority as you're playing the match, you will do a lot better in your competitive play without any changes to your strokes. So stroke improvement is great, and we're going to talk more about strokes in coming episodes. But just remember, triple vision can take you a long way in your match play. Some of you might notice that I'm wearing my Boston Celtics hat. That's because Kristaps Porzingis, the Celtics center who was injured in the playoffs last year and had some very rare foot surgery, finally returned to the lineup last night, and the Celtics are off to a great start, one of the best records in the league, and they played brilliantly and crushed the LA Clippers last night. So this channel is all about joy. I want you to enjoy your teaching, enjoy your tennis, and believe me, I enjoy my Celtics. Go out there and spread the joy.